Welcome to this live stream about manifestation. Let me know whether you are hearing and seeing me okay. Today we're going to talk about manifestation blocks, but if you are really a veteran of manifestations, this is going to be nothing like you've ever heard before. I can guarantee you that you never ever experience anybody taking this subject from this perspective, because this is actually precisely the reason why I am doing this little session, because I see people struggling with manifestations and manifesting and hitting the brick wall, and nobody talks about what is actually blocking manifestations. And just a spoiler alert, manifestation blocks are not generic. There are actual energetic blocks that are very specific to everyone, and I am going to dive deep into it in a second. I can see you are all here and you're still gathering, and it's all good on the technical side. Welcome to Instagram too. So let me know very quickly before we get started with the manifestation blocks, what's actually really blocking manifestation, what was blocking my manifestations, and how did I experience the biggest breakthroughs in my entire life and business as well. Let me know what's your energy level today, because guess what? Your vibrational level affects your manifestations too. So let me know where you are, and just let me know quite genuinely, are you on a high? Are you on a low? How are you feeling? How are you feeling about life? Because it's not just our emotional state. Yes, that's super important, but how is our energy level? How are you feeling? So let me know here. Anders, 8, you're always strong. Well done. Dorica, also 8. I think, Dorica, you Pleiadian, so you plugged into this higher power. That's amazing. Anybody wants to share? If we've got 2s and 3s and even 1s, you all welcome. And if you're catching it on a recording or a replay, you can put hashtag replay and let me know. I'll be reading those comments going forward too. So today we're talking about blocks. What is blocking? Helen is wobbling. Helen, hang in there. And Lotus, I think that's Roxana. Or am I mistaking you for someone? That's okay. That's fine. Stay on and let's dive into the manifestation side of things. So I also want to know one more thing. And again, if you're catching up on replay as well, let me know, what are you calling into your reality at the moment? What is it that you actually want to manifest and call into existence? I actually am not a big fan of the word manifesting. It's almost like it became a bit cheap, if you know what I mean. Everybody's teaching about law of attraction, manifestation, and it almost did become a little bit cheap, like manifesting, like it's something special. You creating, and this is going to be my first point actually, whilst you're all letting me know what you're calling into your reality, but you are creating your reality all the time, together with your energetic field. You are creating your reality all the time. You're in a state of constant manifestation. It's just what we call manifestation is just the conscious manifestation and the intentional one. But in fact, we are calling in all the details of our reality all the time. And our energetic field is actually in charge of that. And if you're not in touch with your energetic field, this is where manifestation blocks crop up and your reality does not kind of match your desired reality. So Amanda is calling a divine union with romantic partner. What a beautiful manifestation. Who doesn't want love? That was definitely top of my list when I was single. I've been married now for 11 years. Not married for 11 years, been together for 11 years, married for 8. But yeah, okay. Abundance of soul-aligned client and love, relationship, union, and money. Okay. Happiness and security. Beautiful. So we've got different needs and different manifestations. Hey, where is the rest of you? I know there's quite a crowd here. Are you not manifesting anything? If you're not, let me know, because you know what? I'm now at a point in my life, actually, I'm not manifesting much, I must say. I'm creating my reality every day. My field is creating my reality, but it's almost like I realized that I've come to a point where I'm really happy, really content on a deep level. But maybe you are there as well. So this is something that you're feeling fine, you're happy with your relationship, you're happy with your income. We are at different levels. Sometimes we're calling in small stuff, sometimes we're calling in big stuff. This stream is about calling in overall reality, because that's my other point. Very, very, very often we are winning little manifestation wars or battles, but we're losing the creating a dream reality war. And I'm going to cover that in a second. So I'm just reading some of your comments. Okay, Lotus, I'm not at the point where I know how to manifest. Okay, don't have to know how to manifest. What do you want from life? That's the question. What does your dream reality look like? Priya, my soul and business and financial abundance, spiritual job, and there's manifestation to master the Akashic realm, finances and security, says Laura. Okay. Okay. I still pray and hope I'm heard. This is a little bit of a difference when you kind of hope and when you actually know, because we are being conditioned that we have to ask some external deity for what we want. We can actually command, we can actually create. We've got the divinity within us to do so. But let's dive into the manifestation blocks, because my first point is that manifestation blocks are not something generic. And this is the biggest thing in this whole law of attraction industry, because the whole industry around law of attraction, around manifestation, there's a lot of manifestation coaches out there. But there's something that nobody really talks about, is that there is no such thing as kind of generic manifestation blocks, or that there's 5 money blocks or 7 money blocks or something. We all have our individual reasons why we're not calling in the reality that we desire. Lydia is listening replay. Hello, Lydia. Nie ma sprawy. Okay, your energy field is coded with information and frequency. So that's what I was saying. You're manifesting, and maybe you have a manifestation routine. Maybe you have some techniques, maybe using some meditations, maybe you are, following some guided experiences, maybe you have a manifestation journal. I'm here to tell you that it really doesn't matter what technique you're using. I've used all sorts of techniques in my experience, and actually, you know what? They all work, because it's not so much the external technique. I've been writing things in my journals, and then I'm reading it a year on, all came true. I've been doing visualizations and guided meditation, that works as well. And another thing that I am doing at the moment is I'm using a lot of power of my voice. And some of you know me as a light language lady. I speak multiple different light languages, and I use energy in this way. But that is one of the very unexplored techniques of manifestation, is just saying things. Like, look at even things like in like religious texts, like in the Bible, where God calls in the reality. He said, and it was done. Well, God is within you. So you can try that too. You can say things and they're done. And also be careful what you say out loud. So I'll give you a little example. And I remember when I live in Costa Rica at the moment, but I used to dream about living in Australia, and I manifested the dream. I called it into reality. I lived in Australia for a couple of years and I absolutely loved it. But now I'm called in to work here on the energetic grid of the world of the earth in Costa Rica. So I packed my bags and I went. However, I remember when I was manifesting my dream to come live in Australia, I used to say out loud very often, if someone just gave me a chance where I could actually leave my life, I lived in the United Kingdom at the time, behind, if someone just gave me that ticket to Australia, I will be gone like tomorrow. And guess what? I've discovered an opportunity to move to Australia, which I didn't know existed at the time. It was via student route and taking a university course. And I had 30 days to pack my life. 30 days. That was that. And we had dogs, we had business, and it was just literally, okay, the universe gave me this opportunity. We had a holiday booked, and I'm not sure what happened. There was some disruption here. Maybe I need to wave my hand less. Let me know if I'm still on. So yes, you can call things to existence by the power of your voice. This is absolutely doable, absolutely possible. So it's not about your techniques. What it is about and where all the blocks are is in your energy field. Because your energy field, which my husband Aaron always calls an egg, because it's the shape of an egg, is this invisible aura or field of information and frequency that is around you. And this energetic field is connected to your soul history, so all your past incarnations, to the information from your ancestry, which again, many people don't pay attention to that. And this field of information also stores information and energetic patterns that have formed during your formative years, which is your childhood, but not just your childhood. It could be your adult life, your career, your work, etc. So when we just manifest and we sit down, show up, do our journaling or whatever, do some new moon ritual or whatever manifestation we're doing, yet we ignore what is in our field, this is where our manifestations spectacularly fail. Or even if we manifest little wins, so we get what we want, but there is an overall accumulation of energetic mess. And by the way, most people, including me, before they actually aware of how to work with their own energy field and energetic patterns, their fields are a jumbled mess. And this is why your manifestations either are not called into existence, or even if they are, they sometimes are small wins, but you're losing the overall war, or something is called into existence, but it's like a one quick fix, but not a long-term solution. Because let's say you call in a sum of money to your life, but it is not sustainable sum of money because your field has something where it's learned a pattern where, for example, there's ups and downs in your income. My field actually had that pattern, which originated when my husband's grandparents won a lottery. The field has learned spikes, peaks and troughs, and I've spoken about it a few times, but there's other blocks to this particular thing. Or it could be that, yes, you're calling in your soulmate, as a couple of people here online are calling in, their twin flame relationship, but that person, yes, comes into your life, but they either go away or the relationship falls short of your expectations. This is all a result of what is actually coded in your energetic field. And what seems to happen is when we get those setbacks, because a lot of you are very, very diligent, very committed, very, very driven souls. And raise your hand up or put me if you're one of them, where things don't go according to a plan and you do more. You throw yourself and you do more. So, I am going to show up. I am going to meditate more. I am going to journal more. I'm really determined. But this is not the point. Actually, you can do once you've cleared the deck of all the big stuff, all the big patterns, ancestral patterns, past life patterns, this life patterns, usually the biggest energetic pattern. I'll talk about patterns, what they are in a second. Once you've cleared the deck, it then is easy. It is then cruisy. But instead of doing more work, work with more precision. And this is, I believe, the missing bit in most of the law attraction programs. People teach precision when it comes to how to manifest or how to set your vision, how to set your dream, whatever it is. Yes, we use precision in that. But when it comes to working with precision on our own energetic field, it's totally ignored. And this is precisely the reason why I'm doing this live, because actually this is the missing bit. And my strapline, my motto, my kind of big takeaway is that deactivating is the new manifesting. Let me say that again. Deactivating. So disabling redundant programs that are running the show in the background is actually the new manifesting. I think one person that actually mentioned something similar, and I've heard that a few years ago and it stuck to my mind, was Aaron Doughty, who said that subtraction is the new attraction. So I am on board with that. Take things away rather than just keep manifesting more, keep activating more. Just by doing like activation after activation after activation and meditation, it's like fool's work. Instead of that, I would focus on what is in your energetic field. Get really intimate with your energy field, which, by the way, speaks to you all of the time. It communicates to you all of the time. Things, when they go in wrong, sometimes it's your field screaming for attention. I give you an example how this field screams for attention. This is actually an example of a very good friend of mine who rang me at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning, telling me, you need to help me. I don't know what's going on. She's very energetically aware. She said, I feel something is wrong in my field. I'm just experiencing this like nightmare after nightmare after nightmare. She said, first, on Wednesday, my dog was extremely sick. He was like puking and pooing, and I spent the whole night just trying to get that sorted. And she said, the next day, my mum visited me, and she visits me all the time, but it so happened that my mum broke her 2 hands in one go. And now I'm just driving to him, and then I went out with a friend for dinner. It was a Friday, and I just wanted to relax. And what did I do? I lost my phone, and my phone is where she runs an online business. So my phone is everything, and I do all of that. And she said, and you know what? When I turned up at the police station to report the theft, the policeman said, today with a phone is like without phone is like without a hand. And there was a pattern with hands. And what we discovered is that she broke a pattern. And it was related to her former marriage, to the fact that there was a ceremony. She was married in Catholic Church where the hands are bound, and now she's separated from her husband and started meeting other guys. That all kicked in. The field wanted recognition. The field wanted not for the pattern not to be broken, because the pattern was, I'm with one person, this is my husband for the whole life. There was other stuff in the background, but this is an example of what happens when we even sometimes aware of our field, but we break patterns or manifest stuff. Things start to go wrong, but our field is communicating. It's communicating in a drastic way, such as, I'm going to block your income, or I'm going to, until you start paying attention. And in this case of my friend, everything calmed down because we recognize where the issue was. So This is an example of an energetic pattern. And I'm giving you this example because I want you to think in terms of energetic patterns, because everything that is happening to you is not an incident. And if you think, oh my God, this is an incident, a dog, a phone, a mum that breaks her hands, what's that have to do in common? Well, the precision that comes with energetic work and energetic pattern work actually is the fact that it's not something that ever is linear. Those energetic patterns are weaved in a very intricate way. And your energy field is not going to send you an email or a text message to say, hey, John, well, by the way, you've got an ancestral pattern here, which stems from when your grandfather was shot by his business partner. And this is what is blocking your income because there is an ancestral trauma in your field and you need to start paying attention to it. That doesn't happen like that. You don't get it. So our field sends us signals such as broken things, blocked manifestations, things going wrong, lost money, blocked income, where things go wrong in relationship, where we get cheated on, all sorts of this, sometimes negative things. It's our field screaming for attention. It's our field screaming for, hey, just do the work. And I don't just talk about shadow work, which is never ending. I talk about the kind of energetic work that goes beyond sometimes this lifetime into our ancestry. And it is very unglamorous, but working on energetic patterns brings permanent changes in your field. It's once and for all. It's not like where you have to keep repeating it. This is why it's more effective. And how does that tie into manifestation? Well, let me tell you. I used to run a building company, and one of the things we were doing were house renovations. When we were doing a full house refurb, what we would do first, we would rip out the old to build the new. We would never do, oh, okay, we're just gonna put a new kitchen, but oh shit, there's a rewire and there's an old kitchen and there's old tiles, and by the way, we have to knock some ceilings down because they're rotten. No, first of all, we would send a team, blast the site, remove everything and all the clutter that was there, and then we could start rebuilding it, putting in new electrical installation, new plaster, new tiles, and everything new. And this is exactly how it is with an energetic manifestation work. If you are manifesting, yet your energy field is in a actual mess, it is like trying to paint over an old kitchen, tiles, instead of first rectifying, making space for this new stuff, and then your manifestations really, really speed up. It's an equivalent of if you have your energy field full of these ancestral patterns, patterns of loss, patterns of betrayal, patterns of blocked expression. There's so many of them that we all have. It's like when you're manifesting, it's like you're trying to climb a mountain, but you've got a heavy backpack full of rocks and junk and stuff like that. It's just going to slow you down. And maybe it will not even slow you down. Maybe it will slow you down to that degree that you'll be so tired that you're not going to reach your destination. So literally, from my own experience and from the experience of my clients, the biggest breakthroughs come as a result of clearing your energy field. Not of adding more, not of doing more activations, of clearing, deprogramming, and disabling the old patterns, the old ways of behaving, because just manifesting literally is not enough. We moving to an age of precision where we're being called to really master the world of energetics and really start thinking in terms of energetic patterns and going right to the very source. So my message to you is you always go to the very source. Start observing repeating patterns. Start observing what's going in your field. Start observing and think back to your childhood. Think back to your ancestry. Because the field wants to heal. It wants to be acknowledged. It wants to be noticed. And when you go to the very source, you will discover there's not just a matter of plastering over the crack and manifesting. It is a matter of actually resolving some past trauma, wounding, karma, or a reason that the pattern is in our field in the first place. So I know this is maybe a little bit complicated. If you guys have any questions, I've got a little bit more that I want to share with you, but now is the time to ask. And now is the time to perhaps clarify something, because if I'm speaking like a foreign language here, I mean, I'm not. You can hear me in light languages. That'll be more foreign. Is this clear for you how energetic patterns work? Is this easy for you to understand? Or is it something that you have any questions about or need any clarifications on? Because I'll be more than happy. Okay, Laura's got a great question. How can you figure out what the pattern is, especially if you have had multiple traumas? So, Laura, you always start with the problem. So, if you can you like, is it too much to ask? If you don't want to share on live, maybe tell me like which area of your life is a block, because this is where we're going to start. We're going to start with the problem, and then we're going to thread back to the solution. So what you start with is you start with what the actual problem is. So I'll give you an example. A problem is, I don't know. Just guys, give me an example of a problem that you're facing. Is it with? Do you want me to talk about income more and business, or do you want me to talk about, let's say, blocks in relationships? Let's choose something so I can kind of tailor the example to it. Okay, financials. I have a very sick father with very high bills. Okay, that's the thing. So always go to the very, very, very source. So have a look. Sick father, high bills. When I work with clients, I would usually just chat to them whether to look further. Okay, so is this situation something that's repeating? I would look at the bigger picture. So what I'm reading, sick father with high bills, it means that you need a lot of money just to exist. So probably the problem here is not even about generating money, it's about money flowing out and being drained away from the field. Let me know if I'm on the right track. If I'm on the wrong track, obviously we're not able to communicate here like we would be in a normal client session. But I'll be looking at what is the overlying pattern. So high bills, look whether those high bills are in other areas of your life. So for example, we've had that pattern. So no matter how much we generated, we always had in business very, very high bills. So there was no problem generating money. There was a problem with money being drained away. There was a problem with always someone asking for money, always someone, whether it was having to pay employees or bills, etc., etc. Right track for me. Outflow always higher than inflow. Okay, so that can be a problem, and of course, that's someone else here saying that's how it is. So I'll be looking at this. I'll be looking at first, what was the pattern that the field learned from your let's say formative years and childhood. Is it something that, and Laura says agree, so we're on the right track here. So this is a real life example of how we're tracking the pattern. So we're looking at where did it first originate. Is it something recent? Is it something that just happened? Or is it a story of your life? And if it is a story of your life, that there's always massive outgoings, that even if you make some headway, let's say you make some money, you have a good job, or you have a good business, something will drain it away. Then I would look, okay, if it's the story of your life, was it also the story of your parents' life? And then I would look at maybe even grandparents, and I would track it as far as I can to the source. So the source could be an ancestry, which it very often is. But if it is something different, if it is something that, let's say, a person thinks, no, I didn't always have this pattern. This pattern happened at such and such date or a few years ago. Then we look at what was the energetically significant event that started it. Because when it comes to patterns, there is always an energetically significant event that starts this pattern, that fires it up. And so I'll give you an example. I've had a client once that came to me and her income was blocked, but it wasn't always the case. And when we actually looked at when it happened, she was very clearly able to identify that the blocked income happened after she got divorced. She was a very high earner when she was married, but then the husband basically said that she is working too much. So and then in the end, they split up, and it was his initiative. So the field has learned that you can't, if you earn too much money, you're not going to have love. This is how our brain is, like a prime brain that works like that. And those patterns are being literally formed, which when you say it logically, it makes no sense. Like, why couldn't I have money and love? But because it was such a traumatic event when a husband of many years that that person really loved left her, accusing her, you're spending too much time on your work. Then after the divorce, the field has learned, okay, if I'm spending too much energy on work, I'm not going to be able to attract love. And obviously I want to be loved. So maybe I'm going to earn less money because then I'll be more loved. So this could be a recent pattern, or it could be something ancestral. When you are really intimately working with your field, you're going to start spotting these patterns. And for me, what was really the biggest breakthrough is when I came across this type of work a few years ago, and I was taught by a Polish psychologist and an energy worker. I just went for therapy after I was really depressed, my business failed, and she turned out to be excellent at ancestral patterns and very, very energetically open. And after she showed me a few patterns in my own life during our work together, I discovered I have a knack for that. I can spot these patterns all of the time. And for some of you, this may be the case. Once you start spotting one, it will be so easy. And then once you spot it, you will be able to deprogram it. And sometimes just having a conversation about it, putting words on it, is a good start. But we can also strengthen it with energetics, where you can gracefully separate yourself from a pattern, acknowledge it, do not break it. When you break it, things happen like to my friend who kind of had the whole reality explode. So never, ever break the pattern. So don't do that. Just gracefully release it and acknowledge. Sometimes it's about acknowledging the good stuff in the pattern. And I know that sometimes we have this very aggressive way of working with us, like, pattern, my grandparents were poor, I don't want to be poor, F it, and I'm going, I know better. This is not how we work. We work with respect to the ancestors. We work with respect to our past experiences, because just the fact that you've discovered something new, you don't have to poo-poo on your entire history and on your ancestry. So we always recognize the gift and the lesson, and the fact that those patterns, whilst they're not optimal, they're keeping us safe. They're keeping us in our current reality. But unfortunately, when we're trying to manifest our desired outcomes, this is blocking our manifestations, because those patterns are designed to keep us safe, to help us survive. So let me know, guys, if that illustration of those energetic patterns helped a little bit to understand how to spot it. It takes some practice. This is the kind of work I'm doing in individual sessions. So if you feel cold, if you can see a pattern but can't quite put, the the words on it, come to a few of my sessions. I've got like a package of 3, and I can guarantee you that after that you'll be able to spot those patterns yourself. I'll just give you the tools, and you're gonna learn on your own field. So if this is something you want to work on, reach out to me and I'll point you in the right direction. We can work together on those patterns. However, if you are energetically open, if you communicate with your field, you may well be able to do it on your own. There's no secrets there. It's just a matter of practice. So I'll give you one more example. Lotus here says, I'm a villager. No one grows past a certain levels unless they move away. So that's another good example of a pattern. Because let's say if you stayed in your village, then the field will be expecting for you not to grow past a certain level. And probably as a result of it, for you to actually, when you move away, you'll be a lot more successful, because that's the pattern the field learned. However, if you want to stay in your village and still enjoy abundance, then you will have to reprogram your field to say, hey, I can stay in the village and still have a blast, still have the life of my dreams and still be a high achiever. So you can do that. There was a very similar pattern, but actually reverse pattern. This is why they're not generic. This is why there's no like generic manifestation blocks. There was something like that in my husband's field, which was actually quite the opposite way. No, actually, it was actually the same. It wasn't opposite. Basically, the grandparents and parents both moved out of their South Wales, where they were from originally, and they made really good money outside of the original village or country or region. So the field has learned that money, success, and abundance is something that's a pattern. That's something that you can achieve when you are away. That you can achieve when you move out. And lo and behold, when my husband lived in Manchester, when he lived in Cyprus, when he was traveling, he was making great money. He was working abroad. Fantastic. The minute we set up a business in South Wales, this business for a long time was doing good, but it was literally, it exploded. It was laden with leverage, with debt, and it didn't work. And something similar happened to his dad. Dad was really high-flying, kind of like a manager. It was all good. He worked in Scotland. He worked away. He worked as a university professor in many different places in the UK. But when he settled down in Wales and opened a business, that business was shut because there was a miners' strike. It was back in those days, and that was another pattern, which is it's okay to make money outside of your country of origin or the region, outside the region, outside Wales, but it's no good to make it inside. And this is how those patterns work. So I'm giving you a few examples just to give you some food for thought, because our field constantly learns. Like I said, our energy field is coded with information and frequency. But the good thing is, if it's coded, it can be decoded and it can be recoded. And if you remember, deactivating is the new manifesting. So the takeaway from today's training, today's session, is before you dive, and throw the kitchen sink at another manifestation technique, spend some time with your field. Have a look at your past. Have a look at, is there any pattern emerging? Is there something that you feel is trying to communicate to you? Is there any energetic junk that needs to be released so that when you actually sit down and start kind of manifesting, it will happen because your field is clear, your field is not laden with all that heavy load. And Lotus said, when I lived and worked in another country, it was amazing. The second I come home, and it was back to the same old, same old. That's the pattern. But you know what? You can see this pattern, Roxanne, now. So what do you need to do is you need to speak to your field. And this is how I do it. Again, no secrets here. I'm happy to give you the recipe. You can do it all yourself. If you want to work with me, you can work with me, but don't do it because I'm holding something back and there's some secret sauce. I'm happy to give you the recipe. So speak to your field if you can spot the pattern, because spotting the pattern is the hardest part. The investigation, actually being able where it comes from, that takes some skill. But you've got a pattern here laid out in front of you. You can see that the field has learned that you're villagers. So if you go abroad, if you go away, you go well. If you come back, it doesn't come well. So you've got a pattern laid out in front of you. So this is the second part of this training, right? You've spotted the pattern. What do you do then? Well, you speak to your field. You recognize that this is perhaps something that has worked for your ancestors and for other people in the village. Maybe that was keeping them safe. They felt good. Or maybe it was giving the opportunities. If you move away, you're going to experience something. That worked for them. But it does not work for you. So you say to your field, okay, I recognize, I can see there's a pattern in this community. There's a pattern that people who move away do well, but people who come back don't do well. Well, I'm here to experience a different pattern of behavior. I am here to go my own way. So today, you can call your ancestors, you can call your spirit guides. So today I stand here before you. You can even call in the energy of the community. I stand here before you and respectfully, I'm releasing myself from this pattern. I can live in this village, I can live in this country and still do very well for myself. And start feeling this energy leaving your field. Take a few deep breaths, release this pattern. You've named it, you've acknowledged it, and then you're going for your own. You're choosing your own way, because you know what, guys? Manifestation, in effect, is just the tip of an iceberg. This whole journey is a journey back to sovereignty, journey back to living how we meant to live, living with satisfaction, living our dreams, living in a place where we want to live, living in a place where we desire to be. And this is how it works. Because every time you deprogram the field, yes, your manifestations will accelerate, but you'll also be lighter. Your ancestors will thank you for it and will be really happy because maybe you healed, you've identified some trauma that was in the ancestry field. You would have really done a great job for your descendants as well, for your children, because they don't have to repeat the same patterns. I always say this is the best inheritance you can give your children, is a clean field, is not passing the same traumas and patterns onto them, so they don't have to deal with them. People think that inheritance is something physical, like money. And, it's great to receive inheritance in that form, but there is also the invisible energetic inheritance that we all have from our ancestry. So this is basically it. If you guys have any last questions, I'm happy to answer them. Let me know in the comments. You've been quite quiet, you've been quite attentive. Thank you for staying here, listening, learning. If you have any questions, as I said, feel free to pop them in a comment. Even if you're catching on a replay, also pop them in a comment. Roxanne says that the energy is already releasing in your throat. Very well. That's good. Well, we've done another live coaching session here. So I hope you feel a little bit clearer about what can actually be blocking your manifestation. I hope that maybe if you're new to working in energy field, that opened new pathways and will make you look at reality in terms of energetic patterns. If you have any questions, any comments, please feel free to connect. You can ask a question. I'll be doing these live transmission, live streams quite regularly because when I see a need, I do this. So thank you so much for all that, and thank you for your nice words, Anders and Ariana. Much work to do now. Absolutely, absolutely. There is a lot of work. So yeah, it's called the field for a reason. The field is something you need to work on a little bit. Energetic field is like a physical field. You need to sow and plow and do all sorts of things. So happy working on the field. And if you have any question about energy work, or if you want to book a session, please get in touch. Wishing you beautiful dream come true, living your best life and living your dream. Sending you lots of love from Costa Rica, and see you on the next live transmission.